As you know, this season I'll be interviewing people who've experienced change. My next guest is a public school educator who, after the fatal shooting of an unarmed Michael Brown, was moved to join the Black Lives Matter movement and become a civil rights activist. Please welcome DeRay Mckesson. Good to see you too, friend. So 3 years ago, a protest broke out in Ferguson. You were in Minneapolis at the time, and you decided you're going to drive 9 hours to Ferguson, join that protest, and take us through it.
Yeah, so Mike got killed on August 9th, and I was sitting on my couch on August 16th, and I saw what was happening on CNN, I saw what was happening on Twitter, and they were just two completely different stories. And I believed the people on Twitter more than I believed what was happening on CNN. So I got in my car, I drove 9 hours. I put a Facebook message up that said, I'm going to St. Louis, I'm going to Missouri. I don't know anybody in the state of Missouri. I hope that somebody can help me find a place to sleep. And then I just got in the car. I got tired though, and I ended up in Iowa in the middle of the night. And I pulled up in front of a church and just went to sleep. I put some clothes over my head, got back up, and I ended up in the street. And that was my story. That was how I got in the street.
Wow, that's amazing. And so Black Lives Matter is, by design, a leaderless group. And because of that, I think that when there's not one voice, the downfall of that, maybe a little bit, downfall's too strong a word, Sarah. But one thing about it is that it can get a little ambiguous what the cause is or what the causes are. Now, if you were sitting with someone who didn't know the tenets of Black Lives Matter, what would you tell them?
So we think about the movement just like we think about the civil rights movement, right? Not tethered to any one group, but there's so many people doing incredible work. And we also think about this actually as leaderful, that there are so many leaders at every level. They're leaders in classrooms, they're leaders at the local level, at the state level, at the federal level, and that we've created a space where people can lead wherever they are. So you don't need one messianic leader, no Messiah here, that we are empowering people to lead wherever they are. When we think about what empowerment means, it's I can't actually give you power. What I can do is help you unlock the power that you already have. And that's what the movement is about. So we think about the core tenets, it's the difference between equality and equity. So equality is everybody gets the same thing. Equity is people get what they need and deserve, and that we are always fighting for equity. That the end of racism is about equity. The end of sexism is about equity. The end of patriarchy is about equity. This is always a fight about equity.
Yeah. Wow. So what is the value of protest?
Yeah, I think about in those early days, I'll never forget getting tear gassed the very first time. And in that moment, I was just America has to be better than this. So I think about protest as telling the truth in public, that we use our bodies to tell the truth, that Mike and Rakia and Ayanna and so many other people should be alive, that we disrupt board meetings and commissions to tell the truth that they aren't using their power in ways that benefit the lives of people of color. So, we can't fix what we don't talk about, and protest forces us to talk about these issues.
Yeah, it's always bizarre to me when people decide to not take in the spirit of the protest, the reason for the protest. They need to understand it as something else to go along with the narrative that this protest isn't okay, Yeah,
and we shouldn't have to protest, right? I'm the first person. We should, if voting had changed everything, we would have voted, and that would have made it all better. If calling people, if all those things were the way to make change, we wouldn't have been in the street. But the reality is we tried everything else, and it didn't work. So we took to the street to force people to engage with us.
Yeah, I think social media has been incredible for that as well. You've called Twitter where the revolution is, right?
Yeah, I think about Twitter as the friend that's always awake, I'm tweeting about, I need toothpaste and Trump is wild, right? Both of those things are true.
I know.
And that's what I'd tell my friend if my friend was right here.
So you're very powerful on Twitter. You have a great voice, but you're not the only powerful voice on Twitter. There is also your vest, which also has its own account.
It does.
DeRay's Vest is an account on Twitter. I would like to say it's probably at DeRay's Vest.
It is.
Big question here. Do you share the same political views as your vest?
I do. Now, the vest is a little snippy sometimes. I don't run the vest account. I didn't start the vest account. I think the vest account is funny, but people think that it's me. So the vest will say snippy things to people, and they're I can't believe you insulted me. And it's I didn't do that, Or
you're Vest, you have to be nicer.
Literally, I'm DMing the vest please stop. Just chill out. Stop snapping at people. I get it, but calm down.
I love that you're DMing the vest.
whoever runs it is hilarious, but sometimes it is like a lot. I'm like, okay, chill out.
Okay, so you're really a beautiful speaker, and I would love to know how you would approach communicating with unlike-minded people in a way where we can really hear each other.
I think some of it is making sure that you're asking more questions than you're done talking, so that you understand like the point of view that the other person is bringing. And the other is making sure that they're doing the cognitive work, right? So people ask me, like police officers will say to me, well, under what circumstances should the police be able to kill somebody, right? And I'll say to them, like, when can the police kill your child? And then they're like, I don't know. It's like, well, I don't know either, right? And I'm trying to get them to work through this too. I'm trying to hear them process because we just don't approach the problem at the same way. And because I think I'm right about some of these issues, I don't need to preach at them. I need to understand where they're coming from. And that can only happen when they're actually doing more of the processing work.
Wow, yeah, that's communication.
Yeah.
It's communication. If it's mentionable, it's manageable, as Mr. Rogers once said. You have a brilliant podcast. It's called Pod Save the People. You talk about the steps that each of us can take to make a difference, so take us through that.
I think one is start where you are, right? That like Harriet Tubman didn't call me and tell me to be an organizer. Like I saw a problem, drove to St. Louis because I thought I could do something about it, and like I started. I like did exactly what I thought I could do, knowing that like this always starts out small. Like people, you know, I had 800 followers when the protest started. I have almost 1 million now, and like I started out small. The third thing would be learn a problem and learn it well. So the more proximity that you can have to a problem, like, so if you care about reading, you should actually like see a kid learn how to read. If you care about criminal justice, you should try and do a ride along or like visit a jail or do whatever you can to get as close as possible to the problem, read about it. There are a lot of people whose hearts are in the right place, but they actually like aren't close to the problem in any way. And like, you gotta be close to it if you're trying to make a difference. And the fourth is that you gotta have hope. And there's a difference between hope as magic and hope as work. Hope as magic like doesn't actually mean anything, but hope as work. Like we know our tomorrows can be better than our todays because people like work to make it happen, and that's what gets us through.
DeRay, thank you so much.
So good to be here.